What if everything you trust, your cash, your bank account, even your digital wallet, is just an idea? Money rules the world. But here's the crazy part. Money didn't always exist. So how did humans go from trading cows to tapping phones? Let's travel through time and uncover the fascinating history of money. Long before money, people used something simple: barter. If you had extra wheat and needed meat, you traded. Sounds easy, right? Not really. What if the butcher didn't need wheat? What if you couldn't agree on value? This problem is called the double coincidence of wants, and it made trade very inefficient. People needed something better. Around 3000 BC, humans began using commodity money. Things like salt, shells, livestock. These items had value because people trusted them. In fact, the word salary comes from salt. Roman soldiers were sometimes paid in it, but carrying cows or sacks of salt everywhere, not practical. Around 600 BC, something revolutionary happened in Lydia. The first metal coins were created. They were made from gold and silver, and stamped with official marks. Now people didn't have to argue about value anymore. Coins were durable, portable, standardized. This was the beginning of real money as we know it. Coins worked well until trade expanded. Carrying large amounts of metal became dangerous and heavy. So in ancient China during the Tang and Song dynasties, people invented paper money. At first it was just receipts, but eventually governments started printing official banknotes. This idea spread across the world. As trade grew, banks were born. In places like Florence and Venice, merchants began storing money safely and transferring it using written notes. Banks made it easier to save money, borrow money, invest money. This shaped modern economies. For a long time, paper money was backed by gold. This system is called the gold standard. Basically, you could exchange your paper money for real gold. Countries trusted money because it had real value behind it. But during wars and economic crises, this system became difficult to maintain. Today, most money is fiat money. That means it has value because governments say it does. For example, the US dollar is not backed by gold anymore. Its value comes from trust. Trust in the government. Trust in the economy. If people stop trusting it, it loses value. Imagine a world where money was so heavy that carrying it could slow you down, or even get you robbed. Over 1,000 years ago, in ancient China, merchants faced exactly that problem. Trade was booming, cities were growing, and business was thriving. But there was one major issue. Coins were made of metal, and they were heavy. Large transactions required sacks of coins. Traveling long distances with that kind of weight wasn't just inconvenient, it was dangerous. So merchants came up with a brilliant solution. Instead of carrying coins, they would deposit their money with a trusted agent or shop. In return, they received a simple piece of paper, a receipt that represented the value of their coins. At first, these papers were just personal agreements. But over time, something remarkable happened. People began to trust the paper itself. These receipts started circulating. They were exchanged in markets, used in trade, and accepted as payment. Without realizing it, society had just taken its first step toward paper money. The first official banknotes, the real breakthrough, came during the Song dynasty. Around the year 1024 AD, in the region of Sichuan, the government decided to take control of this growing system. They introduced the world's first officially issued paper currency, known as jiaozi. This wasn't just a merchant's note anymore. This was government-backed money. How was its value determined? Each banknote clearly stated its worth. For example, a note might declare that it was equal to a specific number of copper coins, sometimes hundreds or even thousands. In simple terms, paper money didn't have value on its own. Its value came from what it represented. It was a promise. A promise that the holder could exchange that piece of paper for real metal coins whenever they wished. What started as a simple solution to a practical problem became one of the most important financial innovations in human history. From China, the idea of paper money slowly spread across continents, eventually reaching Europe centuries later. Today, whether it's cash in your wallet or numbers in your bank account, the entire financial system is built on that same idea. Value is not in the material. It's in the trust behind it. a new era. Most money today isn't even physical. It's just numbers on screens. With apps, cards, and online banking, money moves instantly around the world. And then came something even more revolutionary. In 2009, a mysterious person known as Satoshi Nakamoto introduced Bitcoin. For the first time, money without banks. Cryptocurrency is decentralized, digital. Based on blockchain technology, some believe it's the future, others think it's too risky. But one thing is clear, money is evolving again. From trading cows, to carrying coins, to tapping phones, to digital currencies. Money has always been about one thing, trust. So next time you spend $1, ask yourself, is money real? Or is it just something we all believe in? What if I told you $1 in one country can buy you almost nothing, but in another country it can make you feel rich? Not all money is equal. Some currencies are incredibly powerful, and some are nearly worthless. Let's explore the strongest and weakest currencies in the world. What makes a currency strong? Before we start, here's the key question. What makes money valuable? It depends on economic stability, inflation rate, government trust, supply and demand, strong economy, strong currency. Part 2. The strongest currencies. Let's start with the strongest ones. Kuwaiti dinar. This is the most valuable currency in the world. One Kuwaiti dinar, $3+ US. Why so strong? Huge oil exports, stable economy, small population. Bahraini dinar, another powerful Middle Eastern currency, backed by oil wealth and strong financial systems. Omani rial, consistently one of the highest valued currencies, very stable and tightly controlled. US dollar, not the strongest in value, but the most powerful globally. Used in international trade, oil pricing, global reserves, it dominates the world economy. Euro used by multiple countries, one of the most influential currencies in the world. The weakest currencies. Now let's look at the other side. Currencies that lost their value. Iranian rial, one of the weakest currencies globally. Reasons: heavy inflation, economic sanctions, political instability. Vietnamese dong, very low value per unit. But important, low value doesn't always mean a bad economy. Indonesian rupiah. Large numbers are needed for daily transactions. Again, affected by inflation and economic structure. Nyari Zimbabwean dollar, one of the most famous examples of hyperinflation. Here's something interesting. A weak currency doesn't always mean people are poor, and a strong currency doesn't always mean people are rich. What really matters is purchasing power, cost of living. So next time you look at money, remember, it's not just paper, it's not just numbers, it's power, it's trust. It's the story of a country's economy.